September 9th session. So in this particular session, if you guys don't know about the Message Center updates, what we do is I go through and look at a lot of the updates that are coming through and try to weed out there's a lot in there, but highlight some of the big ones I think are going to be important, and the ones that are coming, as well as things that have changed and some administrative ones that you really should be thinking about, some dates that are deadlines that are coming up. So we're going to start here with September, and we're going to hit Viva right away. And there's a couple of Viva ones that were in the queue that I want to call out. So those organizations that have Viva deployed, this is going to be really for you. So the first one is on the Viva Amplify side of things. This is coming out here, already started from a targeted tenant-wise. So if you have those features enabled for preview, right? So you can get them ahead of time, that's targeted. Early September to mid-September, and then generally available then mid-September to late September. This is the design ideas in Viva Amplify. So this is going to give you more capability to be able to have some already pre-canned design ideas, right? So some of this is going to be then available as you're building out some of these Amplify communications that are going out, right? So this is mainly for authors that are going to be having those ideas, and you're going to see a little icon there that says new design idea. You click on that, and that will give you design concepts for the page that you have currently. Click on the idea, the concept, and it will automatically apply that to your page, right? So it makes it easier, very similar to what we see for PowerPoint and some of those other applications as well. Also know that if there is any design ideas for a web part that you have on a page, you'll also see a little red dot on that particular web part saying, hey, by the way, there's some things that you could then apply here. So those things are happening. Just make sure that your users know, especially your authors, for Viva Amplify. Additionally, we have a change happening here in Viva Pulse for those who are utilizing that. It's public preview right now, coming out here early September to mid-September, so you may have it already. There's new templates that are available and the ability to do a conversation within Pulse specifically. So Pulse is really that capability to be able to get a survey out to the masses and be able to bring that information in. And one of the things that is coming out is that you get some couple new templates, and one specifically is Copilot readiness, and the other one is Copilot adoption. Right, so already pre-canned, ready to go, allow you to be able to send that out. Maybe you make some adjustments and then go. The other piece that's coming out is that you can be able to have a conversation with somebody who made a reply or that replied to your survey. Understand this is an anonymous conversation. You would not know who replied, but you can then send that to them and they will get that response, but you will not know it as that person who's responding. And then e-discovery with this. That's another piece that's important. Understand that a lot of this response information is going to be stored in MS Forms. That's just now making it available in e-discovery tools so that you can then find that information as needed. There are some steps in preparation that were posted on the Message Center area, so make sure you check that out and then notify your users who are utilizing Viva Pulse. All right, moving to Exchange, there's going to be some changes here with groups. And one of the things that they're doing with this is they're making it a little bit easier to be able to do things within groups. So as you may know, within Office 365, pretty much everything is connected to a Microsoft group, right? An Office 365 group. Teams especially, right? So groups have been around for a while and people have been utilizing it. Organizations have been using it as just a group. So that's another option that you have. You don't even need teams for it, right? You don't need to teamify it, if you remember that terminology when that first thing came out. Well, here in early October to late November, Groups is getting an update in, by the way, web only and Outlook for Windows, the new version, not the classic. Okay, so keep that in mind. It's going to show you updates. It's going to allow you to be able to find information easier within those groups. Just being able to navigate between your groups is going to be a lot easier as you're going in through that. So make sure you let your users know that this is going to be changed, because it's going to be a big change as far as what they're going to see and how they're going to do things within these groups. All right, Jumping over to Microsoft Outlook, and this is specifically going to be for iOS and Android devices. So late September or early September into late October. So if you have a PDF in Outlook and there happens to be a Purview information protection sensitivity label on it, right? So that particular PDF, so maybe you already had it originally, and then when you PDF it, it picks up that the information protection sensitivity label, right? So the PDF that inherits that particular label and says, oh yeah, this is X. Well, if that's the case, then when you go ahead and open that up in the app on your iOS or Android device, what it's going to do is going to say, hey, I'm not going to open it up here in Outlook. We need the Office 365 app, the Microsoft 365 app, to be able to do this. So that then it reads all of that information and the sensitivity label is intact. So that's important to understand. The screenshot you see on the left is if you already have it installed. On the right is if you need to install that Microsoft 365 app. Okay, so keep that in mind. By the way, this is on by default. You can do some changes to that if needed, but really it's all about sensitivity of your data and making sure that that's kept private. Understand your end users are going to see this change, so make sure they know about it. All right, staying in Outlook, there's going to be a little bit of change on, as you may have seen in some of the previous Message Center posts, we're doing a lot from a Microsoft perspective on making it available, making it easier to see when your team members are in the office versus not. And so this one really focuses on being able to update your work hours and location and then see who's in the office in the My Day pane. And so already started targeted release. Worldwide, they're targeting for early October to be able to have this available. And again, we're talking about this is going to be in the new Outlook and web versions of it. But you can review and update your work hours directly in Outlook. You can, if you have settings, calendar, and work hours location enabled within Outlook, you'll be able to see that. And in fact, you're going to be able to see in the highlight, you'll be able to set your information over here as well as see who's in the office on your particular day, right? So, by the way, there's nothing that admins have to do on this, but this is a change. And if this is something that you guys are utilizing internally, as your teams, things like that, make sure you guys know how it works and let everybody know. Another one, actually, nope, not this one. Oh, no, this is this is kind of similar to it. To see who is actually in the office. This is that update. So sorry about that. I thought for sure that there are two very similar ones. They're very close. Sorry about that. This is early October to late October that's coming out for Windows and Windows Web. Again, that work hours and settings are enabled. And then who is going to be in the office? You're going to see a little peek. You can see where you are, if you're at home or not. You can change it directly from here. And then you get that capability to be able to see who's in the office at that time. Michael, how much of the work location reporting is dependent upon Microsoft Places? This is not even requiring Microsoft Places at this point, Michael, because Places is not even GA. So I think this is a separate piece of it that you're going to use it. But however, it is going to be integrated into Places when that comes up, right? So that could be something. And in fact, that might be a good topic for a later date for us to be able to bring somebody in and talk about it. Great question, Michael. All right, so quick, raise of hands. How many have seen and used OneDrive or SharePoint colored folders? Okay, the other thumbs up, clap, whatever. Yeah, go ahead. All right, so we got some people that are doing it. Well, guess what, everybody? It's coming to Windows. So you will be able to see those colors. You'll be able to change the folder color inside File Explorer on your Windows device, right? So all you have to do is go into File Explorer, right-click on that particular folder. You'll get that option under OneDrive to be able to change the folder color and go from that, right? So it's consistent now all the way from web all the way down to the desktop with this. Now, again, this is Windows. I don't believe Mac is there quite yet, right? So keep that in mind. Right now, it's just on Windows. And Ben, thank you for throwing that out there. Yes, that's a good high level information about what Microsoft Places is all about. All right, let's move to the SharePoint side of things, and these two are related. The first one is now we're letting available something called the Brand Center within SharePoint. So in the past, we've had this ability to be able to set up assets library for your organizational assets that you want to be able to use. This is taking it a step farther and being able to have themes and those assets as well on top of that. So worldwide, going mid-September to mid-October, already starting to go through targeted right now, and it's a SharePoint Brand Center specifically. Global admins are gonna have to be able to enable this first, and then if you have an asset library already set up for your organization, then point to it. If you don't, you're gonna have to create a new site that assets library is gonna be in there. You can then set things like custom formats, and eventually here you're gonna be able to do custom themes, and those things are going to be available. And by the way, this is not only going to be available for SharePoint Online, but also Viva Connections. So keep that in mind. There are more details around message in the Message Center post, and make sure you're looking at it. And then let your site owners know if you've enabled this and you put some new custom components in there, let them know how it works. Get them that information. Along with that, then, we are also releasing, on top of that, creating themes within Brand Center. So that ability to be able to customize the theme and then make that available to be used within SharePoint sites in the Change the Look section. That's happening right now. Mid-September to mid-October is when it's going to go GA for you guys. So keep that in mind. And again, let your end users, or I should say your site owners, know specifically that that's coming. All right, so I'm going to pause for a second because Michael was asking a question. Hey, has any timeline the GA for Microsoft Places announced? No, they have not, Michael. And in fact, I know that was something that was started. They kind of had a inkling of when it was going to happen, and then it got pushed. So right now, at this point, I don't think anybody really knows what's going on with Places. All I know is it's in public preview right now. Right, so you could use that, do things with it, but that's an option. But it's all in public preview. Don't need licensing at this point. That'll change once it goes GA. All right, back to Teams. Hey, something for Teams here. On the Teams administration side, and when you have approved apps that are available, what you're going to see is that as an end user adding an app into a chat or into a channel on that sometimes can be a couple different screens that are in there. What they're doing is they're streamlining that so it's a couple clicks and you're done, right? So it's going to be a lot easier to be able to add apps into those areas that you want to use an app in a Teams related content, right? So worldwide, mid-September to late September, so it's already starting to happen pretty soon. And GCC late October to early November. Make sure you're letting your end users know that this is a change and what's going to happen. They're going to see it. Hopefully they're going to like it. That's going to be a lot easier to be able to get those apps added in. All right, just looking to see if there's any questions. Pete loves the fact that you don't have to use PowerShell to create themes. Now, that's a good point. You don't have to. You still can do it, right? That's an option. And by the way, in the Message Center post, they call that out. They say that if you use PowerShell to create themes, you still have to use PowerShell to manage those themes. These two are not going to cross streams if you guys get the phraseology there. Okay, so make sure you keep that in mind. You use one, got to use it there. Use the other, got to use it there. So keep that in mind. Okay. And then Corey likes that. Yeah, I agree, Corey. I think it'd be good to be able to have more options in there, but it's coming, right? All right, so some other quick mentions that I want to do, and these are things that are new to a lot of you. The first one is if any of you have deployed Teams Voice or Teams Phone and you have desk phones that are called common area phones, there's a change happening here in September to mid-October for these what we call common area phones or CAP devices. And basically what it's doing is changing when an emergency goes out from that CAP device. Before it went to the national call center, And now it's going to go to the public safety access point, which then is directly connected to 911. So it's going to skip one of the jumps that it usually does. And it's going to make it a lot easier to get that 911 and quicker to get that 911 call through. Understand that those CAP devices need to have the IP phone policy applied to it so that it knows that it is a CAP device, right? Additionally, starting and stopping a recording in a Teams room on Windows, which is this one here, that is coming up here worldwide, October, right? So keep that one in mind. Being able to copy, and I thought this was an interesting one. I don't know how many times when you guys copy something, say for instance, I want to get a link to a chat in a channel, right? And so when I go and copy that and get the link and I paste it someplace else, you get the link, you get the author, you get a timestamp. Well, that's going to change. By the way, it's already started changing. You might see that happening, that it's going to remove the timestamp and author name when you copy paste from Teams. Okay. That is, now understand that, and Jim, you're right, there is some of that. They actually give some recommendations about how to be able to still get that information and you need to. So take a look at the Message Center post for that information. There's going to be a change in sharing Word, Excel, PowerPoint from local. So if it's not in cloud and you have it local, you'll be able to access it now and upload it and go into that exchange, email, as opposed to having to load it into the cloud and then access it that way. I thought this was interesting. If you have anonymous meeting participants coming in, you can also set up a CAPTCHA verification before they come into it. So verifying that they are who they say they are and it's not a robot going into that meeting. External presenters can join on a mobile device, right? So before they had to be on a desktop, Windows, Mac, web client to be able to access, especially from outside of the organization. Now they'll be able to do it with the iOS or Android mobile app, right? That's important to understand. And then manage what people see or attendees see is a feature that's available within Teams. A lot of town hall and webinars utilize those capabilities. What you're going to be getting here, it's available now. If you have those going on, there'll be a toggle as opposed to being able to click on the dots and say, hey, add them to stage. You're going to be able to toggle them on and off. So it's going to be a lot easier to be able to get them on and off that presenting when you're doing that manage what attendees see. Okay, some updated things that are happening. I want to make sure you see these. Some things like some of you guys have been waiting for custom emojis and reactions, and that allows you to be able to add new ones into without having to do anything. That's available worldwide now, but it's coming to GCC, GCCH, and DoD for your government people. Things like meeting RSVP status, be able to change that and say, hey, I just want to follow as opposed to yes, I'm going or not. That is changed as well. It was September. Now it's pushed back October, November, and into November and October and November. New skin tones for settings and reactions also got pushed. So being able to have different skin tones for a thumbs up or applause, that has changed as well. It was in September, targeted as coming out here in October, as well as some changes we talked about last month on the scheduling assistant updates, right? So making it easier to be able to see when people are available or not available. And that is going to be important for them. And then for town halls and webinars, disable attendee email. So if you don't want them to automatically send emails out as part of that process when you're using those, that has changed from September into October as well. So keep that in mind. And then last but not least, I really make sure you guys understand these are admin actions that you need to really be focusing on and make sure you're ready for them. The only one that has admin added is this Viva Engage, specifically on private unlisted groups, or also known as secret groups. That is being retired, and that'll start being retired on January 13th, so you won't be able to do that anymore. And any of those that you do have, and you haven't flipped them over to public groups, then then they're going to be automatically deleted by February 10th, right? So keep that in mind. Otherwise, Teams Live event, still available. We pushed past the September 30th deadline. That's going to be changing. We still don't have any information as far as when Teams Live event is going to be deprecated, but understand it will eventually. So focus on Town Hall, focus on webinar to be able to help with those. And I'm not going to say that last one. I'm just not. I'm refusing to say that last one.
All I know, Don, is we need to have a party on July 14th.
Oh gosh, yes.
A community happy hour.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. All right. All back to you.